This conference will now be recorded.
Along with our legal, we've got our staff. We have folks from the state auditor's office. The only business we have this morning on our agenda we have a resolution number 990, which is a resolution by the Board of Commissioners just confirming the commitment of the Lake Stevens Sewer District and the city to the Unified Sewer Services and Annexation Agreement and timeframe set therein, and then just the exit interview. So we'll do the resolution first, get that out of the way, and we will get into the business of the exit interview with the auditor's office on the things that they have done for us, looking at our financials. So with that being said, let's go ahead and begin. So I would entertain a motion to start for.
Yep, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 990.
It has been moved.
A second.
And we have a second on that. Any discussion on resolution number 990? Not seeing anybody throw their hands up and wave to me intently like I need to be looking at them. So.
This is Brad.
Yes.
May I interject just a little bit of discussion? The resolution addresses in part the city's ordinance 1108, and the city, when it adopted ordinance number 1108, came out from its executive session and adopted that ordinance without any discussion, and took the district by surprise, and in fact took the whole community by surprise, I think. As a result of that, and maybe to add some transparency to the district's resolution, what you might want to do is provide a little bit of background to the resolution, and just maybe make 5 or 6 points about why you're taking the action that you're taking this morning. Just for the record, I don't know that there are many people listening, but for the record, why it is that you're taking the action that you're taking this morning. I think that the district operates a little bit differently, and I think that would be appropriate.
Okay, no, very much appreciative. So I guess to give a little bit of background on that, back in 2005, the city of Lake Stevens and the Lake Stevens Sewer District came together where the city was going to be looking at offloading their sewer system. They had always been a customer of this Lake Stevens Sewer District, where we did treat their effluent that was sent to our plant, but they wanted to get out of this sewer business. The state of the downtown sewer system, the lines in that were very antiquated and in need of great repair. So the city of Lake Stevens and the Lake Stevens Sewer District came together, commissioners and council members at that time, and they did have an agreement that came into effect in 2005 that authorized the city to turn over its infrastructure, some of its debt, so that the Lake Stevens Sewer District could continue to provide the service around the lake. We worked with the city in that at that time, as the city was working to expand its boundaries, and that we would not oppose any annexations that may have occurred or they were trying to have occur in order to grow the city. We built a new treatment plant to be able to meet the needs, and the timeline as we were putting the dollars as a district into doing these infrastructure upgrades was in the agreement that by 2033 the city of Lake Stevens and the Lake Stevens Sewer District would unify, would become one. And that was the goal of the commissioners at that time. It still seems to be the goal of the commissioners at this time. to follow the agreement that was put into place by the folks that adopted it on both sides between the city and the sewer district, meaning the elected officials. We have worked hard while we've had some points of disagreement on some of the agreements. Some of the line items in that agreement, we've worked through them, trying to make sure that we all have a good understanding of how that is going to come together. Into the district at the time, we even had the city of Lake Stevens annex the property that the sewer district had purchased that was a few miles outside of the city. So at that time, the city would have the advantage of gaining the tax revenue that would come off of that, which amounted in almost $2, if not a little bit more, for the city in the long term. So we spent $110 million plus to build this state-of-the-art treatment facility for future needs of not just the district customers, but also the city. And so we're moving forward. We were a little blindsided, I think, this last week when we did find out that the city had adopted a resolution from their perspective saying that they were going to expedite this agreement without any input, not only from, I think, the staff's perspective, but also the electeds with the district itself. And so it came kind of as a shock to us that was going to occur. So what we're doing, and this is a response that we believe that we're still following, and that this unified sewer services agreement and the timelines are valid by law, and we are passing a resolution, and I'm sure there will be more discussion as the days to follow. We do have a utility meeting coming here this morning after this meeting. So this is in response to them. We have posted it legally as required by law and put it on our websites and posted it on the building itself as far as so the public has an opportunity to see that. So I don't know if my fellow commissioners have anything else they would like to add to that. It was a broad overview.
No, I think you covered it very well.
Okay, I see a nod from Commissioner Stevenson saying yes, same thing. I don't know if legal wanted to weigh in, if there was something that I may have left out, because I think legal has probably been here just as long as the district when that unification agreement was put into place, along with a couple of our employees. So
the only thing that I would add, and I think you did a very nice job of summarizing the salient points. The only thing that I would add is that the district's position is that when the parties, the city and the district, entered into the agreement in 2005, the two parties chose the agreement approach to merging the two entities, as opposed to the ordinance approach, and the city's action the other day to out of the blue adopt an ordinance is inconsistent with the approach that the parties agreed to in 2005, and that's basically what is incorporated into the resolution, where the district is reaffirming that it intends to abide by the agreement that the parties chose and continue with that approach, and that it acknowledges that the action by the city is not binding on the district.
exactly. No, I would agree. Thank you for that, Brad. You know, I mean, I was part of the city at that time, working in one of the departments there. I specifically remember speaking with Mayor Lynn Walty at that time, also with some of the council members, one being Jack Blackwell at the time. They were, I think, from the city's perspective, those two gentlemen worked with Commissioners Hatland and Commissioners Mitchell at the time to really put this agreement into place. This was something that they reached across, you know, some say the aisle, in this case, it reached across the lake because the city was in the northeast corner and the district's always been on the west side of the lake. So yes, I think that they could probably teach us all a little bit that we seem to have forgotten in politics sometimes about how to reach across the aisle and work with one another. And so we are going to continue that and work with one another and make sure that we can work through these differences. And why it may have gotten to this point, we're not sure, but I'm sure we will have a very spirited meeting this morning in regards to that. So with that being said, there is a motion on the floor. It has been seconded. No further discussion, I am assuming, because nobody's waving again. Their hands frantically telling me I may have missed something. And so with that being said, I will call for the vote. All in favor of resolution number 990, which is the resolution of the Board of the Sewer Commissioners for the Lake Stevens Sewer District in Snohomish County, Washington, confirming the commitment of the sewer district to the Unified Sewer Services and the annexation agreement and the time frame set forth therein.
Aye.
Aye.
It has been passed. Thank you, everybody. Now we are going to move into our meeting with the state auditors. I do see both of them there. They're awake just like the rest of us, nice and early, I guess. And so I will go ahead and turn that over to them. Welcome.
Great. Thank you. I was wondering if Michelle could be given the presenter option. He has our PowerPoint that we're going to share with you.
Oh, definitely. So he should be able to, I think, share around. You know, unfortunately, I work with so many different of these platforms. They all have a different spot about sharing screens and doing everything. So
Yep. We're learning.
I made you presenter, so you should be good to go.
okay. If one of the staff members can talk them through it, because, well, the GoToMeeting I see is quite different than the Zoom I use or the Blue Jeans that I also use.
Yeah, I think this is my first GoToMeeting, but it seems to work really well. Michelle, are you able to present?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen now.
Perfect.
There you go.
And then okay.
Started from there.
Can you please give me that option, because I have two screens. Actually, it's a second screen that I wanted to share here. Just bear with me. Okay.
There we go. All right. Well, thank you everyone for allowing us to present our exit conference information with you this morning. My name is Courtney Amundsen. I was the audit supervisor for the audit this year. With me, I have Michelle Melso, and he was your audit lead. So he performed the quote unquote on-site work entirely remotely this year, which was wonderful. We really appreciate the opportunity to do that. So to go ahead and get started, Michelle, I'm going to have you move to the next slide. So whether you're new to the audit process or you've been through one in the past, understanding audit results is important to establish and maintaining good government. So first, our audits help build trust in your organization, by letting you know whether things are working or there are areas that might need fine-tuning. But audits can really shine a light on areas that are important to your citizens, external stakeholders, and your own employees. Second, an audit, or as an independent organization that conducts over 2,700 audits of state and local governments each year, your audits can be relied upon to provide transparent results directly to your citizens. And then lastly, audit recommendations are made to assist your government in continuing to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of its operations. So our goal today will be to make sure that you understand the results of your audit and to answer any questions that you might have. We will pause from time to time, but we also have time at the end for questions specifically. So, and so with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Michelle, and he's going to talk about the accountability audit that we performed this year.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. And again, good morning, everyone. It's really great to see everybody today. I'm going to go on the next slide. So, like Courtney said, in regard to the accountability audit, if you have the packet in front of you, you will notice that this year what we've been really covering was the accountability for the fiscal year 2018 and fiscal year 2019. And actually the goal of the accountability audit is most importantly to ascertain, whether or not the district comply with, state regulation, law, grant agreement, or the district own policy. Okay, and that was the goal of the main accountability audit. But if you look at on the page 8, I believe, of your packet, you will notice that in the area that overall the report described that the area that we looked at, the district operation actually did comply with all those applicable state law regulation and more importantly in its own policy. The other big thing that we looked at also is making sure that the district has in place adequate control over the safeguarding of those public resources. And by looking at all of those, we were able to, conclude that the district actually did comply in all of those areas. I'm going to go on the next page. So how did we get there? Basically, we use a risk-based approach, but how did we get to use those risk-based approach? We did an analytical procedures, and basically during the planning, what we did, we looked at, the financial trend of the district the last couple of years. We talked with the key management personnel. I spoke to Tanya. I spoke to Maria, I spoke to Mickey, I spoke to Michelle Bowman, and also did a risk assessment with them to be able to understand exactly, what are really some of the key business risks that they feel that they really wanted us to, include into our current audit. And after all of those discussions, we were able to, select those area that you see on the screen here. But I'm going to just, for the sake of the discussion, I'm going to just select a couple of those areas that I'm going to go to. The first one, it's the account payable, disbursement. And there, I met with, with Mickey and Michelle and get an understanding of the type of control that the district has in place in regard to, any purchases that they do, in regard to, if how they looked at the different threshold to be able to, make sure that the district did comply with state law and regulations. And more importantly, also because of those what we've been seeing across the state in terms of risk related to fraud or other internal transfer or electronic fund transfer, we were able to, because now it's a requirement for our office to look it up. So we also understand by asking with the district what they have in place in regard to making sure that when it comes to electronic fund transfer, they really have good control in place there. We, after all understanding about control, we also looking at all the transactions that are selected, few of those transactions, and making sure that they were, they were properly approved, and really everything was done in compliance with law and regulations. The other one also that we did was the billing, the account receivable billing. And as I mentioned earlier, as we went through the planning procedures by looking at some of all the transactions that were done by the district, and more importantly, the review of the minute, we noted that the district did approve of some rate increases in the last couple of years. And therefore, what we do, we're making sure that to understand what type of process that the district or control that the district has in place, to making sure that all those increases that the district did, they're making sure that those clients, those customers are approved at those. The customer billed at those approval rate, and making sure that the district received those amount that they billed those customers at. The other thing that also we did within that specific area is making sure that because there were a couple annexed area that the district did, and there are some new development there, we wanted to make sure that the district capture all those clients within those annexed areas. Because what is important to the district is how to making sure that the district has enough revenue to sustain, all the different expenses that the district has. Okay, so those are the two big area that I really wanted to go over for the sake of the our discussion here today. So basically, in regard to the entire accountability audit, that's exactly what we did for this year. That's it. I'm going to go to the next page and pass it over to Courtney. But before I do, does anybody have a question?
All right, so I'm going to talk about the financial statement audit. Similar to kind of what Michelle found, again, you're going to see a lot of clean results. So I'm going to walk you through what we saw and then show you, really the highlights. There's a lot of technical information in our report. So the packet that we did send has a lot of highlighted information for you, but I'm gonna, that way you can identify it, but I'm gonna talk through kind of what our process is so that you are prepared to pass on this great news to anybody that asks the question. So when we start our financial statement audit, the first thing we really do is we sit down with your staff and we just talk about what is that process. We're really looking to see, are there any concerns or potential weaknesses with your process that may lead to some errors or significant issues with the presentation of your financial statements. And so we are pleased to report that we did not identify any weaknesses with that process. Everything looks wonderful, and so you'll see that in your report that the control process appears to be sound, that we didn't see any concerns there, so that's great news. The other area that we're required to take a look at is whether or not the district is in compliance with any laws or regulations or contracts and agreements or anything that could have a direct or material effect on the determination of the financial statement amounts. So if you were not in compliance with something large, could that affect your financial statements in a negative way? So again, we're pleased to report that we didn't have any concerns with compliance in those areas. So again, that's exactly what you want to see. And just for your reference as well, if you are looking for the financial report at some point at a later date, it starts on page 12 in the packet that we did send you. So that's where you can find that information. So when we took a look at your process, we found everything looked great. So then we moved on and actually performed testing of your balances that you've included on your financial statements. And then we took a look at the presentation of the information included in there as well. So again, exactly what you want to see. We provided, it's an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion on your financial statements, meaning that we didn't identify any large, significant material or just really big errors. We didn't identify anything of that nature. So we're happy to report that on your financial report. You'll see that on page 18 of the packet, but that's in the main point, I think, in this is that you can feel confident that you can rely on your financial statements. You'll also notice, though, in your packet, there is an emphasis paragraph. That's not always included in your financial report. We've mainly included it because due to the a kind of unknown financial effect that COVID-19 could be having or could have in the future on the district, you appropriately included a subsequent event note, basically stating that you're aware of it, you're monitoring it, and how it could affect the district, but it's kind of an unknown thing at this point. And so we agree with the way that it was disclosed on your financial statements, and we're just emphasizing that in the financial report as we're required to do so per standards, but it didn't affect your opinion in any way. And we do, again, want to make note of the fact that you appropriately disclose to that. So again, wonderful job. So that's really the main points of the report. So everything you really want to see in a financial report. It's a clean opinion, which is great. Moving on to the next slide. One of the requirements that we have to disclose is whether or not there were any uncorrected misstatements or any material misstatements. So again, I mentioned that we didn't identify any large significant material misstatements, which is wonderful. There was one minor uncorrected misstatement, which we agree with the district. You know, it's not uncommon to have uncorrected misstatements that are small. Sometimes it just takes more time to correct it than it really would benefit because it doesn't affect your opinion. So we discussed it and we're in agreement with the reasoning behind not making that change. It'll be corrected in the future in the next audit. So so that's fine. That's exactly what you want to see. And then moving on to the next slide, the main, or one of the things that our office has been trying to do is just to help with transparency. I think that's everybody's goal. And one of the ways that we are doing so is we've created it's what we call tracker. So when we perform an audit and we have significant reported items, usually in the form of a management letter or finding, which we're happy to say we have none of those to report to the district. But if you were to receive one, you know, we don't come back and audit for another year or possibly two if it's an accountability issue. So what our office has created is this tracker platform to basically be able to allow you to provide updated information on what you've done since receiving either a management letter or finding. We're starting with findings first, and then we're going to move to management letters. And so we're just trying to make you aware of this new program that we're using if you, again, were to receive one of those. But if you had any questions about any other local governments, you could actually look on our website and follow down to tracker, and it'll actually allow agencies to give kind of real time, this is what we've done. And we feel like this is important to really give, it's able to give you the opportunity to talk to your citizens and show them, you know, we are addressing these issues and not waiting for us to come back a year or two later before they hear any results or any, you know, changes that have been made. So that's really our hope. It's also beneficial to our local governments as well, as, you know, because we don't come back for a year or two, you know, sometimes you forget what's been done, or you kind of forget about, you know, what you've done since then. So we come back and ask the questions, you go, oh, what did I do then? I know I addressed this. So it just really gives another opportunity to be able to document, you know, this is what we did, this is when it happened. So again, just a reminder of, you know, new things you may see on our website, but again, you won't have to deal with it this year, which is great. So again, moving on to the next slide. So we are pleased to report that we stayed within the budget that was estimated in your engagement letter. Because we were able to perform the audit entirely remotely, we did actually save the district about $2,500 in travel costs from prior audits, which is wonderful. I think, you know, this has really shown everybody, you know, there are some new challenges to working remotely, but it is a possibility as well. So that's kind of a great option for us in the future also. We do have your next audit scheduled for next fall. It's just a financial audit because we do your accountability audit every 2 years. And we have your estimated costs. Again, it's included in your packet. The report also will be published in the next probably week or so. We're trying to get it out next week because we would like to have it published before the end of the year. Just a reminder for those that receive the email about reports that are being issued, we did change our process slightly given the amount of concerns that have come through with you know, clicking on links or attachments to emails. We no longer include a direct link to the report or the attached report, just to minimize any chance of getting any viruses on your computer. But instead, we're including instructions of where you can find the report specifically on our website. So just recognize that there will be a slight difference in what you've seen in the past. Also, we will be sending out a survey in the next week or so. We do appreciate feedback, good or bad, anything that you appreciated in the audit that we should continue to do, or anything that we need to work on in order to make the audit run as smoothly as possible. We do appreciate any feedback. So if you do receive a survey, you know, we would appreciate a response. And then if there's anybody else that may not receive the survey, you can feel free to pass it on to them and provide anybody can respond to it. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle. He has a couple of highlights that he wants to talk about.
Thank you, Courtney. And again, thank you everybody to be here today, but I really wanted to say, I wanted to thank the entire district staff here for another amazing time working with them, and especially Mickey, once again, Michelle, Mariah, Tanya, everybody at the district for really your support, your patience, like Courtney mentioned earlier, with the new normal, a lot of follow-up, a lot of email. I can just talk to her, and then 2 minutes later, I'm going to send another email or call again to them. Hold on a minute, I have another follow-up here, right? So really, really thank you for that patience and that flexibility that they have to really, really working with me on this audit. Again, thank you. Okay.
All right. Well, are there any questions for us?
No, I just have just a comment. I would say that your team as an extension of ours, and it's you perform a very valuable service. And I don't say this very often, but I believe the value derived from what we pay for your services is greater. The services rendered are greater than the payments provided. So we appreciate it and look forward to continuing to work with you all.
Yeah, I would also, those sentiments exactly. Yeah, I know, Michelle, this, you kind of like, I think you only get to do it. I think this is the last time that you get to do any audits for us. You've term limited out, I guess, in a way, it sounds like, but we appreciate you. I mean, I've been here for a couple of years now, I think going on 3, but I've tread from a previous time where I was here. So it's just great to have the auditor's office come in. I think, Courtney, you have a great team. I really appreciate everything. I mean, you guys give it to us how it should be, and that's it. It's the way we want to see it. We have an excellent team that I know that, they make us look good, but really it's them that do the work. So thank you to everybody that's been involved in this entire process. And we're, some places fear auditors coming to town. We actually kind of like it. So, I mean, it's one of those things that it really just reaffirms what we know that we're doing for the best practices for our ratepayers. And so thank you again to everybody involved.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully everybody enjoys their holidays and getting past 2020. So have a good rest of your year, everyone.
Yeah, you too. Happy New Year's.
Take care.
Well, thank you, and
Thank you.
happy holidays, everyone.
You too, Michelle. Thank you. And hey, I'm sure we'll see you again somewhere in the mix. Maybe you just take a break from us and you come back.
All right, take care. Bye.
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 Thank you, everyone.
Bye.